afternoon, everyone. My name is Denise Yücel. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Sociology here at William Paterson University. I will be the moderator of this session. I'm very excited to be here today. This session was sponsored by Technology Across the Curriculum Committee, and we have actually 4 presenters and 3 presentations, and our presenters will all be discussing different ways of using technology in the classrooms. We will first, as you can see in your program, we will first start with Bela Florenthal from the Department of Marketing and Management. Her presentation is titled as Increasing Engagement in the Classroom Through Interactive Technologies. Then we will move to David Fuentes and Elizabeth Brown from the Department of Elementary and Early Childhood Education. And their presentation is titled as Gamification and Teaching, Can It Inform My Classroom Practices? And then last but not least, we will have Ellen Pozzi and Michelle Hinkle from, Ellen is from the Department of Educational Leadership and Professional Studies, and Michelle is from the Department of Special Education and Professional Counseling. Each presenter will have about 20 minutes, and then if I can ask you to hold on to your questions until everybody's done, that would be great. Again, thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy the session. Bella.
Okay, so what I want to talk today is about technology that I'm using in my classes, mostly in my marketing management course, but also I started to use it in my thesis courses. I also teach thesis 1 and thesis 2. So it became like I started with one course, and it is so, I like it so much that I started to kind of expand and do more. Now, what I want to try to do today is to first to do a short introduction and actually make you use Socrative to kind of see that how it is used in some ways. And then I will talk about 2 studies that have been done about Socrative and another software which is called Poll Everywhere. And then I want to talk more in depth what is Socrative is about. Also tell you how I utilize it in my marketing management course. And I also collected some data from students from last semester. And I'll tell you a little bit about what they say when I ask them what are the benefits they see in using this software. So the first thing I want you to do is if you can go online, if you have a smartphone. Now I know we have here a mix of students and faculty. Last time I was, that presentation was geared mostly to faculty, but students, you can have the 2 hats. Try to have 2 hats. So there was a study that has been done, and I want to compare what we think here to the study that has been done. And I want to ask you these questions, but each question I will ask separately. So if you can log into to Socrative.com and go to, as a student, if you can log in and go to room number 287726. And I'll show you how it looks on my side. So if I open Socrative, now Socrative you can open on like a web-based, but also you can have an app on your tablet if you have a tablet. So that's what I see from my side. As you can see already, I see how many people are in the room. Okay, so the more people come in, I can see how many people actually will participate in this question, okay, at the top. Now, because I'm doing a participation activity, I usually, you know, the question, I'll go back to the question in a moment, but when I do this participation, I open type of answer, what type of answer I want. Because we have A and B, I will do multiple choice, and I'm going back to my question. Okay, so do you believe, okay, do you believe that student smartphones distract them from learning in the classroom? Can you answer that? And I'll show you how it looks when you answer. There is a distribution that I show in my class, so I kind of demonstrated what I'm doing in my classes. So I ask a question, then everybody is answering, and then I can go and show. Usually I use two Okay, usually I use 2 screens in my class. So I always go between 2 screens and I show students, okay, now these are there. So we have actually 78% say yes, okay? 78% say yes. So let's remember these numbers. We'll see how it compares to a study that has been done. Let's look at the second one. Second question. Okay, 1 second. Again, I'm using my iPad, so once I'm done with the question, I finish it, and again, as I say, I open another question, another answer. So the second question is, have you ever tried, as a faculty, to use smartphones in your class as a learning tool? Okay. Okay, let's see what you are answering. Many did not. Okay, and I see how many people, you see, that's nice. I see how many people actually answered from how many people are in the room. Okay, that's another nice, and I like the way that it's displayed. I think that graphic is nice. And then let me ask you the third question. Quickly, we go through the 4 questions. Do students believe that smartphones distract them from learning in the classroom? Do students believe that it distracts them from learning? Let's see what you think. Okay, so students don't believe that it distracts them. That's kind of a trend that I expected. And oops, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. As I said, I'm using one screen here, so it's a little bit kind of a juggle. But after that, I'll just use the PowerPoint, so don't worry, not too many juggles. So do you believe that students would enjoy using their smartphones as a learning tool? Okay. No distribution. Okay, now let me show you what people said. Again, there was a study that has been done, and by Cengage, actually. This is I took from the online. It's a recent study, and these are the answers. So they asked students and they asked instructors. Now, one question I didn't ask you because I thought it would be a waste, a little bit of our time, is do students bring their smartphone to classroom? So as you see, everybody kind of, or most people agree, both students and instructors. The other question is, do smartphones distract students? And you see that instructors believe much more that they distract students than students believe. And the last thing is, was 2 questions actually. One, if instructors use smartphones in their learning, and you see only 42% do that. And it was asked if students would like to use that, and 56% they said that they would like. So there is a market here. There is a need here. So we want to see how we can utilize that. Okay? Okay, so I want to talk about 2 studies, as I said, kind of put you into this. Okay, so some teachers already did that, and some of them measured it. If it's a good thing to do, use technology in the classroom. So one was actually was done by Loretta. Loretta is from and she presented it in a conference. And what she did, she gave students at the beginning of the class a quiz. And the quiz was done either by paper and pencil or through Socrative. And she found that basically the scores were pretty much the same. So students did not score better on any of these ways of doing the quiz, but students enjoyed much, much more doing it through Socrative. So you can see already that some student, this is some of the things the students said. Some students said that they really like that it reduces the stress for them. Students like that they can see the answers, whether they are wrong or not. So that was interesting to see that students actually enjoyed. Another study that has been done, and this was in a conference that I attended, a presentation, and they used something that is called Poll Everywhere. Some schools started to adopt that. Again, what happens is in comparison to Socrative. So it's a little bit different technology. You get it for free up to 40 students. For Socrative, if you have up to 50 students, you can use it for free in your class. So if your class is very big, you need to start to pay for it. The other thing is that the Poll Everywhere uses texting, which means that you don't need to be connected to the internet. Okay? However, the limitation that I would say about this is that it only can be used as a participation tool, which means that kind of replaces the clickers. This Socrative, I think, is more sophisticated because you can use it for several different purposes, and I'll talk about that. But basically, that's another technology that is used to engage students. Some results from the study show, first of all, 100% participation. I usually have about 95% participation, which is a great thing because if you look at a regular traditional class, we have 3-4 students participate many times throughout the whole class, or you just nag everyone to, and they don't feel comfortable. So participation increases tremendously. Students like the idea that others are involved, so it creates kind of a community. When you look at it, people like to see what others did, how the distribution looks. If it's weird distribution, you can have a discussion about it. And they enjoy the enthusiasm it creates around the topic. And also, it kind of breaks the class into time of lecturing and doing something activity or interacting, and that is a nice thing to kind of have both a mix in the class. So that were some of the findings that were from this study. Now let me talk a little bit more in depth about Socrative, the one that I use. And I'll talk about 2 ways to use it. One is to do quizzes, or actually also I do it for in-class assignments. So that is for a grade. So you can use Socrative for a grade. That's why I said it's different from Poll Everywhere, because I believe, and what I saw from Poll Everywhere, it's mostly for participation. So if you want to use it as a tool for quizzes, you need to create the quiz up front. Okay, it's very easy to do, by the way. Socrative is very, very easy to use and learn how to use it. That's why I think it's a strength of the software. What you can do, you can choose, like I showed you, different types of answers. So it can be multiple choice, it can be true, false, or it can be an open end, an essay that students need to write, which is good. There is a lot of variety. You ask students to go into a certain room. They enter their names. You can do a pace of a teacher or a student. So that's a nice thing. You can randomize the questions and the answers. You can edit this. You can copy that. Once I create it, I can reuse it and change it a little bit every time I want to use it again. And you can share it. So if you teach it with other faculty and you want to use the same quiz across different sections, you can share the same quiz. So that's very nice. The other thing is it saves the answer. So you can email it to yourself, you can download it if you use your computer, or you can go back later to the website and again, if you forgot or the email didn't get to you, you always have the information, which is great. It saves everything. So this is one way to use it. The second way to use it, as I said, is participation. That way, it's anonymous. So I don't know, for example, when you answered, I don't know who answered what, but we knew how many people answered, which was very nice. We also, as I said, you can also, what is nice, I usually prepare my questions up front, but if you like more spontaneous teacher, you can write a question or ask a question and just open and answer, and you can immediately have a distribution, which is also kind of, some professors don't want, some people don't want to do it in advance, so they want more spontaneous kind of response. So you can do that. It doesn't matter. As long as you open these different types of answers, you can do it in any way you want. And then, of course, you can show the distribution, and I think it's very nice to kind of share what everybody thinks. It creates discussion, it creates interest, it can be explanation about what each answer is. Is it a good one? Is it not? Why it's not a good one? And so forth. So have further discussion, more involvement. And also, as I said, very important, you always know how many students do participate. As I said, it's anonymous, but you still need, if you have 20 students in your class and you have 10 participants, you can say, okay, people log in, and I always wait until I have about 90–95% response. Marketing management, my class. So basically I use it for both. I use it for participation and I use it for quizzes. The way I do it in my class, I put the questions in my PowerPoints during the discussion. And as I said, it's anonymous. Many times it is tied. I don't ask in class questions of knowledge, but more integration. So we talk about the case, and then I ask questions that integrate the case material with the models that we cover. So it's kind of higher level integration questions, and students answer. I use different types all the time, multiple choice, true, false, and also open-end questions. I always show the distribution or the answers on the screen. So if it's open-end, you kind of have answers going through, and you can pinpoint, you can scroll. Very, very convenient way to show answers of students. And then we have usually a discussion, disagreement or agreement, and so forth during the discussion. Then what I do is I use Socrative for exit quizzes. So I choose 5 questions from the questions I asked during the participation time, and students actually do that for grade. So they enter their student name, and I open the quiz. They do it their own pace. It's randomized, and I see what is nice. I see every student what they answered and if they answered correctly or incorrectly. So I see everything displayed on my display, which is nice. And I can also see when everybody is done. So when everybody is done, I can close it and I send it to myself. So what I want to talk a little bit, that's the last, how much time do I have? Great, wonderful. What students say in my class about Socrative. So anonymity is a huge benefit. 81%, I have more data, but I analyzed 22 answers from students so far. So 81% mentioned anonymity in one way or another. So this is a huge thing, and they love it. Students love to have anonymity when they answer. Then some said that it's very engaging. Some of them think it's kind of a game. So it's kind of creates this engagement and fun, which is nice. Also, some students said they like that they can use their mobile devices for learning, okay, which is something that is related to the previous studies that found that. And a lot of them feel that the participation and communication is one of the benefits. Okay, like one student said, the main benefit Socrative provides during the semester were getting all the students interested and active during the lecture. So not feeling by yourself like you are the only one that's answering the question, but everybody is engaged. Some students said that they really like also talk with their other students that sit by them, kind of discuss, okay, who is answering what. So it kind of creates this energy, enthusiasm, like the other research said. Understanding and paying attention. So many students said that they understand better the material if you do that this way, and they pay more attention to what you are saying, which is nice. And of course, interactive, which also relates to fun, that they really feel that the software gives them an opportunity to interact with the material. So I think I'm good. I'm done. And questions? Thank you. Any questions?
I know that Bela has to leave early, so
yes.
maybe we can just have, if you guys don't have any questions for her.
Yes.
I know that you mentioned anonymity was something that the students favored. Is there a way for you to be able to see who's answering what without them seeing?
No. Once you do that, it's like for a grade. It's like a quiz. You can do it, but then you won't be able to show it as a distribution in class. Yes.
So do you go through the IRB so you can use these results in your own research to publish?
Yes. Yes. I'm actually, this is my ART project. Yes. Other questions? We're good? Okay. Thank you.